Welcome in, everybody here. Yes, that is a new intro. This is a new show of Buffoon and Botkins. My name is Tanner Dawson, the Whiskey Sports Podcast. Nick will be joining us later. He's currently occupied Mr. Johnny Cruz. He'll join us, and Jonathan Grishman join us on the back half, as always, as we talk about the Super Bowl recap today. I mean, what can I say? I think there's only one way to start the show the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you missed it yesterday, Patrick Mahomes down 10.5. High ankle sprain and all. One leg. Took care of business, people. That's the only way to start this show here is by the tomahawk chop for their Chiefs, as my Chiefs are Super Bowl champs here today, beating the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday in a great matchup. You know, definitely a game I was hoping that we would have good football on. Well, we got good football on. So, Jim, I guess what's your early thoughts here? I mean, what's your thoughts? What'd you think after the game? About, going on.
All I gotta say is one more for the good guys. I picked Kansas City to win the Super Bowl. I put the bias aside against Philadelphia. I don't root against Philly. I don't root for Philly. I can't do it. But looking at these teams, I said I think Kansas City can get the job done. And Mahomes, you got to stop him. If the game is close, I'm taking the Chiefs all day. And you know what? It was a great game between two good teams, the two best teams in the league. The turf was crappy, but you know what? We still got some great plays out of it. We still got an excellent football game, high-scoring affair, considering the Eagles' defense, the best in the league, Chiefs' offense, best in the league. And from a Philly side of things, I don't know how you let Kelsey, Tony, and Sky Moore get that wide open.
Yes, like the play designed by Reed and Bieniemy were outstanding yesterday to get those open looks of when you needed it. And yeah, I don't know how they got wide open on that at all. Doesn't make any sense.
Look, they relied on the running game heavily. Isaiah Pacheco and McKinnon, they were great. They decided, you know what, we got to run the football. We just can't let Patrick run around on an ankle. And look, he took a hit. He grimaced, but he had 30 minutes to recover. He got the 30 minutes to recover. He looked good, had the big run. Second half, it was all Chiefs all day. Yeah, to me, the turning point in this game, I believe it was the second quarter, down 14-7 to get the strip defensive touchdown. Keep it. They tie the game on a defensive score. Stops Philly potentially going up 2 scores. Now it's a game. Yeah, they do end up scoring. Yeah, they're up 10.5. But that's a lot better than being down maybe 17 at half.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm like, that's a big play. You know, I don't know what your thought. Like, I know everybody comes out, you know, looking at, you know, the refereeing and the call at the end. Look, there were a lot of calls that could have gone both ways. Everything washes out. Okay. I go back to the quote unquote fumble that was overturned that could have led to another Chiefs touchdown. To me, he makes a football play. That's just a bang, bang play. And the ball comes out. And to me, that's a touchdown. But again,
I feel like if you're making a move, like you catch the ball and you make a move in towards a direction upfield, that's a football move.
Right. But I mean, I know that they say, oh, he doesn't have time. Well,
what do you want? 900 seconds for him to catch the ball and turn its body?
Exactly. But again, everything balances itself out. And if you're going to complain about that, that was really the only time the Philadelphia Eagles really contested any wide receiver Kansas City had all day on defense. I mean, think about it. They had no contested balls. They didn't sack Mahomes once. You know, he was outside the pocket when that injury happened. Give credit to KC's offensive line, because the last time they were in a Super Bowl, that's all everybody was talking about, how Mahomes had to run for his life.
Yeah, and now look at this. Orlando Brown Jr. did not allow a sack. How huge is that? Like, that's a guy that gave up the ankle injury initially in that Jacksonville game. This is huge for Orlando Brown Jr. going into a contract potential year. I don't know. He might have bought himself another tag. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's,
Maybe. I
it's
mean,
insane how Philly they did pressure and they blitzed probably more than they usually would to get pressure, and the Chiefs didn't let up.
no, they did not. I mean, I thought they played really well. I thought the O-line played well. I thought defensively the Chiefs were really good. Obviously, those wide receivers are going to get open. Jalen Hurts is going to get his runs in, but they stopped the rest of the running game.
Yeah. Big
That
shout
was
out
huge.
to Hurts, by the way. Hurts
Dude.
played phenomenally.
Both
just like
guys
the
did.
quarterback did, should for that team. And that's a guy that has a promising future for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they're back in the same situation next year, the way they played.
I mean, can we say it right now? Potential rematch again? Could we see it?
Potential. Very potential. I think if Hurts can stay healthy there with weapons with Devontae and AJ Brown another year and get it, I like that team. I like what I saw from Hurts. He threw for over 300 yards, in case you guys did not know,
and ran for 3 scores.
Outside of running the ball and sneaking the ball, this guy also passed the ball very effectively on offense. So, look, I got nothing but respect for Hurts. I loved what I saw from him.
I know. I had all the respect for Hurts. Thought he did a great job. Played well. Eagles played well. Both teams played well. Kansas City, they just get it done. They figure out a way, and they always get it done. And it comes down to the field goal, and it comes down to everything. And it's a what can you say about Andy Reid, man? This guy just gets it done. Mahomes, best one quarterback QB combo. Again, they ran the ball so effectively. They passed the ball great. Kelsey makes these great catches. Juju Smith-Schuster with big time plays, big time catches in the fourth quarter, third quarter. Chiefs offense just came and decided, hey, we're going to step it up second half, like they've done pretty much all season. I mean, I get me wrong. You could correct me because you watch a lot of Chiefs games, but this team felt like a second half team for most of the year.
Oh, but by far, look what they did against the Niners.
Yeah.
They were down, was it 17-3 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And second half came and they whooped them. It's always been a second half team.
Yeah, they're always a second half team. Make the adjustments, but that's good coaching. You make the adjustments to what the team is giving you, and Philly just didn't make the adjustments or didn't keep doing what they were doing. But that's credit to the Chiefs making adjustments in the second half, getting their guys open even more. Kelsey was dominant. I mean, the punt return by Tony. I mean, to set up that play. I mean, the Sky Moore play. Tony's been a weapon for that team. And,
Huge.
think about it. They did it. No Tyreek Hill. They revamped that offensive line. Mahomes on an ankle. I mean,
what else do you want from us?
I know.
It's like it's amazing of what the expectations was going into the season. We were supposed to be dead last for most people in the division. Ended up, turning that around, and then we weren't even supposed to be Super Bowl favorites for a lot of people either. The specialist in the industry, and it's just amazing how Mahomes is just like, okay, it's like Chris Jericho. You made the list.
I was gonna say Michael Jordan, be like, I took a personal.
Even better.
I took a personal.
I mean, do you think? All right, let's just say the next 10 years, Mahomes continues to do what he's doing, right? Maybe not every year, AFC Championship game or Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean,
are we
talking about 5 straight years now?
Yeah, are we talking about a longer than a Jordan documentary in that one? Because that was a big one.
I mean, that was 10. I mean, 10-part documentary. I could see Chiefs 10-part documentary with Mahomes and Andy Reid.
I'm pretty sure that with Andy Reid alone, you could fill 10.
You could do like 20. 10.
Going back all the way.
10 with Philadelphia and 10 with Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right on that.
I mean, it just feels like it. No, but kudos to Eagles for getting there. They were the best team in the NFC all year. Kansas City, I don't care what anybody says. Until the final score says the clock says 0, Kansas City is not out of any game. Game with Mahomes in that offense. I'm sorry, but they're not.
Big shout out to the defense, the defensive side, especially Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton had one of his best games out there. He was after the run and he stopped. Miles Sanders didn't get far. Scott, when he was in, Gainwell had one breakaway, and that was it. Like it was pretty much a non-dominant run game for the running backs outside of Hurts.
Right.
And that was all credit to Nick Bolton out there doing his thing. He got off the block and was filling the gaps exactly where he needed to be. Just
And
like
I think he caused a turnover too, right?
He was the one that did the fumble recovery, and he would have got a second recovery if they would have stand. I mean, that might have won him MVP. Honestly, I might have put him over Mahomes if that.
I think if the running back had Pacheco had more yards because he had to score. Yeah. Maybe if he gets over 120 yards or something, maybe he gets MVP too.
Mahomes, he was only was it like 179 or something like that.
He had a couple scores though.
Yeah, but he had a couple key TDs.
Yeah, the Kelce to open, the one to Tony, the one to Sky Moore. And he had the big run to set up the field goal before the penalty.
I mean, just that great throw too, that low catch by Kelce, catching that for that conversion, that was key. Yeah. I mean, it's just keeping the drive, but I think Philadelphia, they started right. They kept a hold of the ball. They worked that time of possession. They were on the field. What was it? It was like almost the entire first quarter. Yeah, essentially, and before Mahomes even got out there, that's what Philadelphia needed to do, was convert the fourth downs to third downs and keep the ball. Well, the Chiefs defense made some key stops in the second half that gave Mahomes the ball, and it turned the game around. It turned the game around because Mahomes was on the field.
Well, they get the early score. Pacheco runs it in. Then they hold them to, I believe, 3 and out. That sets up the Tony punt return. Right? Yep. If I'm mistaken.
Yep, you're right.
And they score, and then it's here we go, off to the races.
What was it, the longest punt return in Super Bowl history?
Yeah, it was. He said he wanted to score too.
He almost had it too.
I know he did.
So close.
It would have been the first punt return touchdown in Super Bowl history.
I mean, that's what we're doing. Apparently, still in 2022-23 year, there's still records to be made, and somehow it's still being set.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I feel like we're talking about a new record every other day in the NFL season.
I mean, especially with the Chiefs.
Oh man, it's insane. It was just a really awesome game to see.
I'm just glad we got a good game to end the year.
I know. I was so worried for a minute it'd be like the Patriots Rams. Did not want to see that.
I mean, I'm glad we got high scoring game. Good defense still, but
great defense.
We had offensive. We had a lot of offense. Special teams. It was a good game. It was a good football game. That's what it was.
That's exactly what it is. It was a great football game. Exactly what we needed.
That's what you need in a Super Bowl. You don't want a blowout, or you don't want a stinker.
Yeah. I mean, granted, as a Chiefs fan, I'm sure I wouldn't mind not having the heart attack at the end, but I knew it was going to happen. We're not winning games. We're not blowing people out. It's winning games by 3. And that's what Chiefs have done all season long. They blew out a couple of guys here and there, but for the most part, their games aren't like blowouts. They're like, hey, well, we're going to take you down to the last minute, but we're going to go ahead and score that.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to score. We're going to keep it. I mean, they beat the Bengals with a field goal to get to the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl on a field goal.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, maybe it doesn't come down to the field goal. I think Burkhardt, the one he missed, he just didn't line it up right.
Yeah. I don't know. That was just a weird one for Butker to miss. A 40+.
Yeah, Butker,
he's money in 40+. And I was like, Of course, we're gonna miss the money shot right there.
Well, it felt like when he come off his feet, he didn't even aim where he wanted to aim, because it drifted too far left.
Yeah, I think he was just off on it, unfortunately, on that.
Because I thought he would have started at the right upright, and then it would have tailed in through.
Tailed in because they had the roof open.
Right, exactly. So if it was closed, I think if it was closed, maybe that's the play. But with the roof open, you got to aim a little bit right.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. It was just overall, finally, I know for a Chiefs fan here that struggled with special teams and struggled with the defense at times, it felt like an overall great
Yeah.
game by all three phases.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great football game. They did everything right. They played special teams all three phases, as Tom Coughlin, former Giants coach, would say. You got to win each phase of the game. Special teams, offense, defense. You win that, you're going to win the game. I mean, look, they won the turnover battle. You know, that was the only turnover of the game, I believe.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So they won that. Offensively, they matched pretty much what the Eagles were doing shot for shot. If not, in the second half, they dominated offensively. I thought they were a better offensive team than the Eagles were. I mean, again, Hurts and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. But you know what? I'd rather have those guys beat me than the running game beat me.
I wanted the ball in Hurts' hands.
Yeah.
I wanted him to throw the ball and use his receivers, which was kind of weird too, though, because Devontae started out so hot, and then he got kind of, beat or injured a little bit off that last catch and close to the first half there. And then it was like he disappeared.
Except for that big play.
Except for the one big play in the second half.
Yeah.
But yeah,
which if he doesn't have to come back for the ball, he's walking in the end zone.
Oh, big time. Big time. That wouldn't have been a problem at all for him.
No, but he had to come back to it, and then he had to turn his momentum. But no, and then again, like I said off the top, Eagles fans, I understand. The guy even said it was a hold. He just wishes they didn't call it. But again, when you're not contesting wide receivers and tight ends, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
You know who's going. You know
who Mahomes is going to when they need to move the chains. I mean, it's easier said than done because Kelsey's one of the best tight ends ever in the game's history.
And he makes his own windows.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he just makes his own windows.
It just blows. Also, I mean, you don't see teams usually win this game with over a 10-minute difference in time of possession. 35-47 for the Eagles, 24-13 for the Chiefs. You don't see teams win these types of games with that kind of amount of possession. That's just an effective offense.
Quick strike offense.
Doing great things. Yeah, and that's
quick strike offense.
They finally got to play their style ball, which is let's make the big play, right? That's what it is. And they got to play that game because that's what they had to play. They were forced into it. And might have been the Eagles' demise forcing them into it, but I still think the Eagles did it right with the 35-minute time possession.
That's how you beat a guy like that. That's how you beat a guy like that. What do you always say? Keep the quarterback on the bench. That's what you have to do. Look, that's what the Giants had to do when they won their Super Bowl against Brady. They did it twice. They tried to keep him on the bench. That's what you have to do. But the problem is if the Chiefs run a high tempo offense and they go no huddle and they just do what they do, they're going to score quickly.
Oh, they will. Yes. That's exactly what they did. In this. It was such a flip-flop game too on the stats wise, because we walked in, Philly being a dominant running team with, the three-headed monster in a way they have there. Hurts also running quarterback, and then Mahomes and stuff being the passing side. Well, net yards rushing, 158 for the Chiefs, 115 for the Eagles. And then the net yard passing is 182 for the Chiefs, 302 for the Eagles. Complete flip-flop of what anybody expected.
Exactly. It's crazy.
That's just amazing to me that it ended up being like that.
I know. So nuts.
So, I mean, like I said, we couldn't ask for any better game coming in to finish out this season here. So I want to kind of look ahead, just a brief preview looking ahead. What do you think Philly needs to do in order maybe to make it back? Is there anything that you're aware of for that team that could be effective for them?
I mean, the only thing I could see is maybe them clean up defensively a little bit, but even still, they're still the best defense in the game. So, I mean, again, it all depends on what they're going to do for what they're going to do, with their wide receivers, running backs, who they're going to bring back, offensive line. But they didn't play a bad game. That's the problem. Like, you look ahead, you're like, okay, well, they didn't play a bad game. So I don't think they have to change much. I think maybe you just make a little bit more adjustments come second half. And that's it.
So, kind of looking ahead here, they got a pretty good, decent names in the free agent pool coming up. Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Hargrave, Jason Kelsey on that side, James Bradbury, who did the hold.
Yo, all right. So I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this. How funny would it be if Kansas City tried to make a play for Kelsey?
What would he do? Just back up Humphrey?
I mean, I'm just saying because it's
I
an
mean,
NFL.
it'd be funny. It would be great.
It just brings me back to the Niedermeyer brothers in the NHL because Scott played his brother in 03, Rob, and Scott was on the winning end. But in 06, after the lockout, he signs with Anaheim, wins the Stanley Cup with his brother. So I'm saying, as a backup, maybe.
I mean,
I think they're gonna
I
bring. No, I wouldn't hate it.
I think Humphrey's big enough and he's agile enough that he could play any position on that offensive line when needed. For that. So, but if it was for a team friendly deal, I would take it big time.
I'm just throwing hypotheticals out there.
I like that. I like the hypothetical out there.
I mean, look, I think the Eagles are going to try to re-sign all their guys.
What about Miles Sanders? Yeah, Boston Scott and Miles Sanders on the running back.
I think maybe you only got to bring back one.
Yeah, I don't even know. So you go out and pay Miles Sanders.
No,
I mean, he had a great year, such a bounce back year, but I don't know if you, at least for big money, like if Sanders asks too much, let him walk.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Some big names here for Philly for sure to kind of keep an eye on. This will be an interesting situation. And of course, the losing team in the Super Bowl usually has a down year generally, but last year
Bengals, man,
they had a rough start, but they caught back on quick.
I don't see Philly having a down year. I don't
see it either. I just don't
see it.
I just don't understand how that happens.
I mean, even San Fran didn't have a down year coming out of losing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess they didn't, right? They went to the championship.
They went back to the championship game, so
that's fair. And maybe the streak's finally broken.
Yeah.
Looking over here at the Chiefs side of things, Orlando Brown Jr., left tackles, big one. Yeah. Juju, Dunlap, Noddy on the defensive line, Riley on the tackle. Chad Henne is officially
retired, baby. He's done.
So now we got to figure out: do they stick with Shane Buechele to be a backup, or do they go out and does Andy go out and get one of his vets that he likes?
I think he goes with a vet. I think he gets a vet. I think he gets a vet.
I think so too. Other big names here to look at: McKinnon, Hardman, Juan Thornhill coming into play. I think Justin Watson's in there, but I think he gets re-signed. Colin Saunders, Tommy Townsend. I mean, we can go down the way, right?
Yeah, I mean they'll get as many guys signed as possible. But this team, they always figure out a way when they lose guys. They bring guys in and they fill in.
We got 12 picks this year in the draft again. It's back-to-back years.
Yeah, they're good.
So you're going to replenish a lot of talent.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I'm not overly concerned right now.
Excuse me. No,
that's just in KC. So they got to hit right. So
they got to hit right is right.
Man, yeah, it's I don't know. There's a lot of. I mean, this could be an interesting couple months here leading into that draft, just from an whole NFL standpoint and everything. Yeah. So big man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. Fun.
Can't wait for the off season. Can't wait for the off season.
When does that all start? I don't even know what day.
Now?
Yeah, I mean, like free
agency. Yeah, probably a couple of weeks. March? I would imagine. Yeah, I would think so.
Right.
That's what April.
Yeah. Draft's end of April. So 27th is the draft. And then I think March is sometime in early March, like March 10th or something like that, is when free agency officially begins.
Yeah, so you'll be good.
Oh man.
So much fun. So much fun.
All right, let's switch up here a little bit here just before I let you go.
All right.
Anything I haven't, obviously with the Super Bowl and the playoffs, I haven't paid jack to hockey in the last few weeks. But what do we got going on? Any lead changes? Is like
all right. So here we go. So obviously trade season is right around the corner, a little over 2 weeks before the trade deadline. It's a Friday, it's March 3rd. Okay. So check me out. I'm taking the day off from work. I will be at the home office doing hockey stuff. I'll be there. Bo Horvat went to the Islanders. That was the first trade. Tarasenko last week went to the Rangers. Okay. Jacob Chikrin for Arizona has been held out of the lineup the last 2 games, and the Coyotes have confirmed it. It's for trade reasons. So he has not been moved yet, but he's being held out of the lineup for trade purposes.
Until he gets figured out.
Exactly. So you got Timo Meyer on the books. New Jersey's looking at him. A bunch of teams looking at him. Like I said, the Chicken saga came out Saturday that he was leading. There were a bunch of teams mentioned. The Kings had Dustin Brown night, so they were gonna, kind of cool things off a little bit. They were like, we don't want to, say anything because we don't want to ruin Dustin Brown's retirement night. And so there again, the saga continues on what the package is for Chikrin, but Kings, Bruins, Oilers, all there. Sharks got multiple people in play. Meyer, Erik Karlsson potentially could be traded out of there. You're going to have to get third teams involved to retain some money there. But it's a trade season. Where a player's going to go, who's going to go where. Boston, a little struggle out of the break, but they'll be fine. Carolina's, again, playing well. The Rangers with the trade has been remarkable. Tarasenko Panarin combination has been excellent. It's just, it's wild and crazy now. Now it's a silly season, which is great.
Oh man, it's just going to get even more insane as we get closer to March there. Is it more difficult for some of these hockey players to adjust and make chemistry with certain teammates? Or is it a little easier in the hockey world than maybe like football or baseball or NBA?
It depends because you see a lot of these big names go pre-deadline so they can make the adjust. There's a little bit longer time. It's instead of going at the deadline, there's only the seasons are shorter. So your adjustment time's shorter. So if you go beforehand, then your adjustment time's a little bit longer. But in the case of Tarasenko, he knows Panarin since their days back in Russia. They grew up together. They played together. So, the chemistry was there. Horvat, he comes into a new situation with the Islanders. Luckily, it was during the All-Star break. He had time to get accustomed, had to practice. He fits right in with them. It all depends on the player. Most guys, they can fit right in, but sometimes it takes a while because you're just not unsure of the system. It's a different system. Can you play it? Like, for instance, Nick Paul and Brandon Hagel. Paul kind of fit in fine with Tampa last year, but Hagel, it just didn't seem like they were getting a player that could score goals, but he had to adjust to a new role because he wasn't in the top 6. He was more in a checking. Now he's adjusted. Now he's back over the 20-goal mark. So it depends on the player and your situation. If you're used to playing a top 6 and you have to go to a checking run, it's going to take a little bit longer than if you go the other way. So again, it all depends on the situation, the team you go to. Again, Tampa likes to play that defensive style. Hagel was with Chicago, so they were kind of run and gunning it. So it was good. But again, teams have to clear cap space. That's the big deal. I wouldn't be shocked if like Vegas or a team goes out and gets like a Gus Nyquist who's on LTIR right now, so they can open up more money to get and make a bigger trade. I know Patrick Kane's name's still out there. He's linked to Vegas now with Mark Stone on IR and LTIR. Dallas is another place he's been linked to. New Jersey. There's a lot of players out there. We'll see. Some of these trades could wait till the summer, so you have a little bit more time to discuss it. We'll see what happens. But right now, we got 2 trades off the board with the deadline coming up.
All right, I need to ask you because I got lots of friends in Minnesota.
Yeah.
What happened to the Minnesota Wild here out of the All-Star break? Because it's been a disaster for them, almost kicking them out of potential playoffs right now.
Yeah, offensively, they just need to be better. Fleury's been fine, goaltending Gustafsson too, but offensively, they just don't have a lot right now. And that's the issue. They're just dealing with the cap because of the buyouts to Parise and Suter. They just can't add anybody. That's why they had to get rid of Fiala. They're missing that. You could clearly see they're missing a top 6 forward. But again, the salary cap for them is going to be a huge deal. Kaprizov and Boldy can do so much. But again, those buyouts are hurting that team. So we'll see what happens.
All right, well, that's good to know.
They got a big shootout win over the Devils the other night.
They did.
Hopefully they can continue the momentum their way because they need to put some wins together. But they got a tough schedule ahead. Nothing's easy for this team, and Minnesota, again, Colorado's charging, and then you have to deal with the Pacific Division as well. The Calgary Flames are right there, LA Kings, all those teams. So can they hold on? I think they're going to have to make a move to figure out if they can get in the playoffs because it's going to be a battle.
Agreed. That NHL series, as we get closer to the playoff time, like NBA, it's going to be entertaining, I think.
Oh, it's good. I look, I love Super Bowl. It's about, I was talking with a guy I know on Saturday that he trained Tej that used to play for Green Bay, and then he went to play for Indianapolis. He said Super Bowl is about the league. The players, they could give two craps about the halftime show and all the festivities leading up. They just want to play the game. They wish the halftime was regular 13 minutes and just get this over with. He was saying that they have guys literally in the locker room ready to take your first half jersey to do whatever with it. Like,
really?
Yeah. But the point is it's like the presentation is great, but to me, the best presentation of all the sports is the Stanley Cup. It goes right to the players right away because that's who's earned it.
I like that. That's how it should be.
Right. Instead, we get the owner gets to touch the owner's the first guy, but he didn't do anything except assemble the team. It's the team that won.
He had to empty the pockets.
Right. Exactly. So that's just just my little thing. So
yeah,
it's all about money. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing with the NFL. It's all about money,
dollar bills.
Yeah, and put eyeballs on. Like they said. It was a heavily watched Super Bowl last night, but the halftime show with Rihanna was more watched than the rest of the game.
Yeah, I thought it was an okay halftime show. Nothing.
I liked it.
It was fine. I didn't think it was,
Could have been better. It could have been better.
It could have been better. I think because compared to last year,
it's more the top last year. You know what I mean?
Like, last year was great. Last year's was awesome Super Bowl halftime party. And it just seemed to be, there was a little bit more energy with the halftime show.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But it was fine.
Yeah.
I don't want to discredit Rihanna because number one, pregnant and all, she's still fine as hell. But two, she just has so many bangers. She out there singing the choruses to all these songs. Like, run this town. Like, yo, Jay-Z is in the building. Like, Jay, get your ass on the stage. Kind of verse, will you? Like, then she's singing all these Kanye West songs. Like, I need Kanye on there. Like, bring him on. Bring Jay-Z on. Y'all could have broke the internet because they are beefing. Imagine the three of them busting out "Run This Town Tonight" with her pregnant ass. Run this town tonight, and then they just coming on cutting their verses. It would have I was just more disappointed that there was no features. You know what I mean? Like, she's a feature queen. Where were all the people? I needed more. I felt like I needed more. And she didn't even sing "Love on the Brain," which is my favorite Riri song.
She had a lot of hits. I felt like she brought out some other ones that could have been. You could have gone with the classics and
gone a lot more ways in it.
Yeah, I just think she should have had some features on there. She's like the feature queen. You know what I mean? Like, she could have brought out Eminem. They could have sang "Love the Way You Lie" and "Monster" and
nobody wanted to hop on with her because they were afraid it was the Super Smash Bros. They were playing.
Yeah, it's true.
And they was all scared of heights, Tanner. They all scared of heights. They said, "How you get in there?" She's like, "I'm way up there."
I know you're gonna push me.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, Jim. I know you got to go. I appreciate you talking Super Bowl with me, a little hockey.
Absolutely.
Going forward.
Hey, see you, Jim.
See you, Nick.
See you, Jim.
See you, Tanner.
So, Nick, I introduced the stream the right way because there's only one way to introduce a Super Bowl win. It was just the right way to do stuff, right? Because isn't this what you wanted to do last night? Within the Super Bowl? After that victory? No, you didn't.
No.
Are you upset?
I wasn't upset.
You shouldn't be upset, right?
I wasn't upset. I'm upset. I'm not even that mad that the Chiefs won. Like, I'm more upset the way the game ended.
Yeah, I mean,
and I like it. It's so anticlimactic. Like we had like this. Like I mean, like I described it to you on Facebook. It literally was like you go to prom, you get the suit, you're dressed up, you're feeling yourself. You go with your boys in the limo. You're all excited. The prom queen is like digging you. You guys are dancing on the dance floor. She asks you to go back to your place. You guys go back. You start making out. She's kissing on your neck. You're kissing on her neck. Little hot and heavy things are happening. You guys take your clothes off, and then she just lays there like a lump on the log, and your thing goes like this. And I mean, that's exactly what that game was. I mean, we were all excited. We were robbed.
It was a dud at the end there.
We were robbed of something special. Like, that's the thing, is like, it comes down to that flag. Like, they hadn't called that penalty all game. Like,
no, it was the first one of the game. I was waiting for Sheffers all game long. Like, all right, Sheffers,
they didn't do anything,
thing, baby. Whatever you're gonna do it.
They did not call a single penalty damn near all game, unless it was
so weird,
blatant, right? Like
the most penalty crew who threw the most flags all year long, like, didn't call it, and it was weird. And then they
didn't call, and then I mean, it's so Bradbury. Yeah, he admitted, I get it. Like, hey, yeah, I did hold him, but I thought I was going to get away with it. We'd been getting away with it all damn game. I mean, Juju
on Juju early in the first half.
Yeah,
they did it across the field. Didn't call it then, which was way more obvious.
Yeah, and Juju didn't turn around looking for the flag. You know what I mean? There was only one person looking for a flag, and it was Patty Mahomes, and that was it. And I don't even know with the hold if Juju would have caught that damn ball. You know what I mean?
He wouldn't have.
Like, that ball was almost damn near uncatchable with the hold. I just felt like
the second worst part. That's what made it worse, was where the ball ended up. Like,
yeah,
I think it would have been an okay call if the ball wasn't all the way
10 yards ahead of him.
Yeah, and then again,
like if Juju would have got his hand just a fingertip on it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe yeah.
No, that's what I've been telling you guys. Sheffers, I was just waiting. Like, all right, Sheffers, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna screw up now? And it took him to the last play of the game.
It did not. What I say, I didn't want to happen. I did not want to come out of the game talking about the damn refs. Like,
and here we are.
And we were robbed of something special. Like, Butker kicks that kick. The Eagles didn't have a minute and a half.
A minute and 10?
A minute and 10 to see what Jalen Hurts could have done to try to get them into field goal range. And then maybe we go into overtime. How special would that have been? You know what I mean?
I mean, it was a hell of a football game up to that point, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. It was a great football game. I mean, great game. Kudos to the Chiefs offensive line. Where the hell,
baby? Yeah.
Where the hell was the Eagles defense? Like, this vaunted Eagles defense that we spent 7 hours yesterday talking about, you know, being the best team, they had the most sacks, you know, of any team, this and that. They've put up a 0. They let 2, not 1, but 2 walk in. I mean, my 6-year-old son could have scored. Your little daughter could have scored on those touchdowns. Yeah. Like, that's how open they were. Like,
I think that's a little bit more credit to Reed, and we can say Bieniemy too. And that's because it's a lot of running back blocking sets and also double tight end sets. You know, they had extra blockers on that line for Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, at times it sure didn't seem like it, but credit to them for making the play to buy enough time for some of those plays to happen.
But it was the same play, just 2 different people.
Yeah, 2 different Tony and Sky Moore.
Exactly. Like,
same play.
And then, like, you don't get any. Mahomes had it was 0 pressure on him all night, damn near.
I mean, he ran a couple times. He had that nice, somehow
that one run that really set him up there on the.
Well, yeah, that throw after his ankle, but then the catch or throw to Kelsey that was like at his feet, and somehow he was able to come away with it and throw it without hitting the ground. I don't know how he did that, but I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. What do we do? Tanner, you need to defend the call a little more. Bradbury, we already talked about Bradbury, Mike or JG, one of you guys. We already talked about that. I'm not saying it wasn't wrong, but it would have looked better if it wasn't 900 yards downfield.
But they hadn't called the call all game. That's the thing.
But why are we calling calls the last play of the game? Why are we, they blew the fumble. I felt they blew that fumble. That should have been a Nick Bolton touchdown.
Well, I say this. That was a less of, and I told you that last night when we were texting about it. I said that was less of a catch than when Devontae Smith went out of bounds and they said he didn't catch it.
But he had possession. It wasn't bobbling. All he did was he was turning to make that football move, and Snead just caught him.
He didn't complete the football move. Yeah.
Turning, it's a football move. But he didn't make a step. And I think that's what the NFL's like, oh, it's not a catch. But that would have put Nick Bolton in MVP level.
Oh, yeah. Nick Bolton's probably MVP. He scores, yeah.
2 fumble scores like that.
If Hurts doesn't fumble there, I think it's 21-7 Eagles.
If Hurts, I think it's a 17-point lead going into halftime.
Because I think 14 or 17. Yeah, because Hurts fumbles.
That would have been a touchdown probably. So
Hurts. They were driving. The Chiefs' defense could not stop Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, early it was a struggle, and then the second half, it's like, oh, the adjustments were made. So
I think they made one stop.
Let's see here. I'm pretty sure it's Mike. So I just heard the analogy from Botkins and it was awesome, but was the call correct? Yes. The game was not decided. No, it wasn't decided by Carl Shepard. We're not saying that. We're just saying the call's stupid. The way it came, the timing it was. It's not saying the call wasn't correct. It was correct. It just would have looked better if it was done in different stuff. The better team won. We all know the AFC was the better team. I agree. I think if the Bengals were in the situation, I think they would be the better team.
I picked the Eagles yesterday, but said, if you remember, I said in the AFC Championship game, I said the winner of this game will win the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But I just went with the Eagles because I got tired of wearing that Chiefs shit for 2 weeks.
You were wearing Chiefs too much.
Yeah.
It was your issue. So you had to pick the Phillies or Philadelphia.
Yeah. It was just anticlimactic. The rest of the game was great, top to bottom. And I thought Hurts outplayed Mahomes.
Hurts played fabulous. Now, I'm not going to Hurts played one of the better games I think he's played all year long. Mahomes, yes, did not throw for 300 yards like Jalen Hurts, but I don't think it mattered. It was the way the Mahomes had to come out and work effectively on the offense. And you missed the time of possession talk with Jim, but that was a over 10-minute difference of time of possession in this game. Eagles controlled 35. The Eagles.
Well, you knew early on what was happening, right? Like it'd be 3rd and 8, and you're like, if they get 4, they're going to go for it, and they would get, 6, and then they just do. I mean, they could not stop that QB sneak. Everybody in the whole stadium knew what was going to happen, and they still couldn't stop the sneak.
Correct. I mean, even Chris Jones got up, on top of him at one time, but it was too much force coming from behind Hurts, so it didn't matter what was going on. And Mike, this is not on this show. The PI call wasn't deciding it.
I think the Eagles' no-show defense and the non-adjustments they made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they made that the Eagles didn't get to Mahomes was the key.
Yeah,
they just let Mahomes go back. I mean, not one sack. I said the key for the Eagles. I said it yesterday. They got to get 3+ sacks.
Yes, and that they had to put him on the ground. They did it,
and they never did. They not once.
Well, it was once during a throw.
Yeah,
at his ankle. That was the ground. That was it. All right, let's bring him in. Get his thoughts in the game. I want to make sure he hears this because he picked Philadelphia over my Chiefs on Sunday, and I got to let him know about it.
That's the Braves tomahawk chop. I don't hear that now. It's baseball season now. It's baseball season.
That's Jonathan's ringtone.
It actually is. When baseball season starts, it actually is.
I believe that, man. What's going on, Jonathan?
Man, how's it going, guys?
Good. How's practice?
It's going good. We got 4 teams all practicing on tonight, so it's me running around. I'm running around all over the place right now. So we're finishing up. I got the girls, breaking it down, talking right now. So it's been a hectic couple hours for me.
I believe it, man. If you got
Weather
all
turning
15
out pretty
out
nice, it looks
there,
like, right? I mean, you guys are outside. I see you got the coat on, but
It's a little windy. It's not too bad temperature-wise. It's a little windy right now, but yeah, we finally the rain. It was supposed to rain a little bit. It actually held up, and we were able to be on the field for the first time since this February. So, thankfully, we got to be on the ball field and get some work in.
there you go.
My guy here saying it's baseball season with the laughing emoji. He feels the same about baseball that he feels about the NBA. It's too damn long, and football isn't in it. So that's his thing.
Well, hey, we got the USFL starting up in April, so
And we got the XFL here. We at least got a St. Missouri team, the St. Louis Battlehawks, baby.
St. Louis got a team.
Yeah. Jonathan, let's go ahead. Let's get your quick thoughts. What's your thoughts on the game last night?
But it was a good game. I was actually very pleased. I was happy the fact that we talked about this at times, the referee crew and who they were and what they're known for, and it was a clean game and clean officiated game. And I know a lot of talk is about that last possession for the Chiefs, but it could go either way. It didn't make or break the game. The game was it was a clean game for both sides in that aspect of it. It was a good game. I mean, you had the Eagles kind of pull away a little bit here in the first half. It was a tale of two halves. The Eagles pulling away and kind of dominating what the game was, and then the Chiefs just said, "Hey, we're still a championship team," and they made adjustments. And that's what I expected from an Andy Reid coach team is they're going to make adjustments. And I made a point on that in the pregame on Sunday, yesterday, was that who's going to make adjustments better and quicker, and it will determine who's going to win the game. And in essence, in the aspect of the second half, the Eagles didn't make the adjustments to at least counter what the Chiefs adjusted to in the second half, and that was the difference in the game. And it shows that coaching matters. And Andy Reid, being a championship caliber coach, he made the adjustments that was necessary, and it was what made it happen. So. I thought it was a good game. A lot of people are saying it was a classic. I won't put it to that category yet. It was just a really good game, but I won't go as far as saying, "Oh, this is an instant classic type of ball game," though.
Okay. I think if we would have got the finish we deserved, it would have been. That's what it was like watching a great movie, and then it gets to the end, and you're just like, I've sat here for 3 hours, and this is the bullshit I got. You know what I mean? Like that. I just wasted 3 hours of my life watching that bullshit.
I agree. I think if you take away the flag, you have a field goal kicked right then and there. You get the Eagles a chance to see what happens if the Chiefs stop them. Hey, now we have a finish. Or if they go down and kick a field goal, we have overtime. Or if they score a touchdown with 8 seconds. If you take away the flag, I think we have a different conversation as far as the caliber of game.
That's what it was just so anticlimactic. Yeah.
But I mean, the essence of it was it ticky-tack? Yeah, it was ticky-tack. Could the game have been better if it wasn't called? Yes. Was it called by the rule? Yes, it was. And Bradbury even admitted it too, that, hey, I did pull the jersey.
But they were letting him get away with that all game.
I agree. Believe me, I agree.
Both sides.
And that's where I wish they would have just left the flag in the pocket, because you let them play the entire game. Again, do I think that made the game what it was, that give the Chiefs the win? No, it didn't, because the Eagles had opportunities to put the game away. They blew it. The Eagles blew the game because with a 10-point lead. So I won't say that call made the game. That call just ended the game.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like I'm not saying the Chiefs won because of the call. I just felt it ruined what we were robbed of, something to see something special at the end.
Right.
Like I wanted to see Butker make the field goal kick and then see what Jalen could do, and then let it ride out that way. But I agree, because I felt like the Eagles defense just didn't show up. Like, where the hell was this vaunted Eagles defense all game?
Well, like I said, and I said yesterday, you're not going to shut down Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. You have to contain them. First half, they contained them. They did. They did a good job in being able to at least say, "Hey, Mahomes, you're going to have to earn everything that you're getting in this game." And they found ways to kind of slow things down. And the offense of the Eagles, I don't put it really on the Eagles defense. I put it on the Eagles offense because they had the ball for so long. Then you gave them a turnover. Then you gave them a turnover that scored in the first half. But then you had, kind of things stalling on the Eagles offense, and that's something that we haven't really seen all season. With a healthy-ish Jalen Hurts, that Eagles offense stalled, and it made things more complicated for the Eagles defense. So, and it gave opportunities for the Chiefs to have shorter fields with that punt return by Kadarius Toney. It really made things a little bit difficult for the Eagles defense. So I don't put it on the Eagles defense completely. Yes, they kind of disappeared.
4 touchdowns, no punts, no turnovers.
You're not going to stop. But you're not going to stop the Chiefs, though. You're not going to stop them. You just got to contain them. And when you had
they didn't even contain them. That's what I'm saying, though.
But you had a 10-point lead. So why did the Eagles offense just absolutely stalled?
Well,
so
too, but
you had it. So at halftime, you had a 10-0 lead. Yeah. You shouldn't lose that game at that point, especially with the offense that you had. So, I mean, they did contain in the first half. Now it's just up to the offense to keep the ball and score when you need to. They did score at times, but there was times where they stalled and they had a couple punts that really
I think they punted twice in the second half, and one of them was that Toney just almost ran it back to the house. Yep. But I mean, so it's to me, it's still the special teams at that point in time. But the Eagles, 0 sacks. You're supposed to be this sack machine that we talked about, and you got 0. You can't. That can't happen. No, I never heard him say Hassan Reddick's name one time during the game. I might have been on cloud 38, but I never heard Hassan Reddick. I never heard Dagana Masu's name. I never heard Quinn's name. I never heard him say anybody's name. Only name I kept here was Gardner Johnson because he was out there flying around trying to kill people.
Flying around.
And I agree, and I think that was a letdown as far as with the Eagles defense because again, as you said, you led the league in sacks, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close to the statistics. But again, I think that's more of the competition level that the Eagles faced all year. They were statistically the best defense. But how many we said this before, how many elite offenses did they play against? They played against Dallas, and Dallas put 40 points on them. I mean, that's the equivalent right there. That was essentially your equal to what you faced. I'm not saying that the Cowboys' offense is exactly what the Chiefs' offense is, but they're capable of doing that. And that was the go-to that you see. That you put 40 points on the board against the Eagles' defense, like what the Cowboys did. You have to find a way to at least say Chiefs are going to do the same thing. They damn near sure came close to doing it.
Yeah, it was as I told Jim earlier, it was a very effective offense when it was on the field. 24 minutes of time of possession. 24 minutes. Whole entire game. 30 teams don't win that matchup.
Let me ask you guys this. How bad was that freaking field? We're playing in the most important game.
800,000 or something like that?
Most important game of the year. We needed the MLB, Jonathan. We needed MLB grass guys to come on and fix that damn field because it was atrocious.
So you don't watch Cardinals games because that's the same field they use for Cardinals games, and I mean it is one of the worst fields that they use. But I agree with this. I don't remember, and I know they've had Super Bowls in that stadium numerous times. I don't remember the field being that bad in previous Super Bowls.
No, it is not that bad. For most people said it's not that bad when Arizona's playing either. They said it was like the worst.
Yeah, well, I think they may have changed the grass as far as with a different kind. I think they did a little bit different. So
3 years ago, my brother told me 3 years ago when he was down in Phoenix, they put new grass in, and that's why they roll it outside during the day. Back in at night kind of thing. But it was 3 years ago they changed the grass out. And you put 800,000 into it, paint the crap out of it. No wonder you're slicking everywhere because you got paint everywhere and it's all slippery. That affects your footing.
It does. And real quick, guys, I'm at the ball field, so the lights cut off. I'm a little darker. I'm still going to be here, so don't panic or anything like that. But no, I agree though. And again, and they made a comment about the paint and how much paint was on that field. And then you throw in the second half, you had the stage that the Rihanna halftime stage that just kind of mushed it down. You can't you can prepare, but you can't fix that in the middle of the game. So it gets worse as you go. So I don't know why. I don't get why they changed it. I don't understand, why use a different grass than what you normally have done in that stadium, especially for previous Super Bowls. But, keep it. It should be simple. It should be keeping it the way it's been and utilizing what has been working for you instead of just saying, oh, we're going to do something completely different for the biggest game of the season.
What does it worry you knowing the fact that the fields are changing across the NFL essentially from that whatever the turf or whatever it is to grass. Was it like what's the whole deal of safety? It's like they're changing the way the field is.
Well, you have a lot of teams that are going to turf, and a lot of players hate it. Players hate the turf. They'd rather play on grass.
They're doing research right now on injuries that are caused by the turf compared to grass, because most players are, like you said, Jonathan, want grass because the turf is tearing up the ACLs and MCLs. It's bad on the joints.
It's very bad on it's bad on the joints because it's concrete. You have concrete underneath it, but very little. There's padding underneath turf, but it's not enough. Whereas solid ground with grass, so you have concrete. I mean, think about all the baseball careers of guys who played on AstroTurf and everything. Vladimir Guerrero, his knees were shot playing in Montreal. Ken Griffey Jr. when he went from playing in the Kingdom to going to Cincinnati, his knees were already shot. And that's why he had hamstring and knee problems start his career in Cincinnati. I mean, it's bad. It has a lot of issues. It has a lot of problems with it. I mean, there's not a lot of research that needs to be done. You can just go watch the film in the last 20 years of teams that have had who played on AstroTurf to what they are today. When Reggie Bush, I remember when he was with the Lions, he tore his ACL just trying to stop on the turf.
Jamal Charles, same thing.
Jamal Charles, just trying to stop in the Ford field. And he ends up tearing his ACL. So I mean, there is a problem with it. There is a lot of issues because it's not padded enough. And if you put too much padding, it slows things down even more. It doesn't make things quicker. So there's so many issues. But again, it's the cost. It costs less to maintain and manufacture the turf than resodding and reseeding grass fields. The cost is so much different. That's why a lot of places have been going to more turf fields, as you have these indoor fields and these indoor, these are retractable roof fields. If you have real grass inside those stadiums, they're going to die. It's going to die. You have to leave the roof on all the time just to make sure the grass. That's why Arizona, they roll the grass out every day to get sunlight, because they know they wouldn't get enough grass to be able to be utilized properly inside.
Forget how Milwaukee does it, because they got natural grass in there, and I know they leave the dome open normally.
They leave it open. And so if I remember correctly, what I read, the field itself in Milwaukee, it like throughout the beginning to the afternoon, it's allowing sunlight to hit the grass. So much time it's going to hit in sunlight. So they just did it right that whole time.
I just don't get why other stadiums have such issues, with it. So, and it's such a player safety issue, obviously, because now you're losing, like you guys talked about, Griffey, Vlad, Charles. You lose big money guys that bring a lot of viewers to your league.
Well, look at last night. Jake Elliott rolls his damn ankle on the second half kickoff. What if he gets hurt because of your shitty ass field? And let's just say they need to kick a game-winning field goal, and their damn kicker, walking out a bum ankle because your shitty-ass field.
Now you're
didn't we see? Was it Jake Elliott that slipped on the kickoff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he slipped. And what if he needs to kick the game-winning field goal? And he's got a bum ankle because your shitty-ass field. Because when he kicked off at the second half, it was just.
Yeah, I mean. I don't know. I can't answer why they didn't prepare better. But it's really a shame. It's really a shame as far as just that's a talking point instead of, again, the game itself.
Yeah.
Instead of the game itself, because again, it was so evident that the players were having a hard time. And you had the Eagles. They had a segment just in a timeout showing the cleats by the Eagles players changing from first half to second half. I mean, that's a problem. That was a problem. Again, instead of making the focus on the game itself, they had to talk. We talked about the field a lot, and shame on Arizona for doing that. Shame on the NFL for allowing it, and instead of keep it as is. Don't change. Don't reinvent the wheel, which you've been utilizing in that stadium for every Super Bowl that you've had it in.
Yeah, honestly, I really do believe that all the players were lucky to come away without major injury.
Yeah,
that could have been bad.
Well, remember we had last year in LA. We had Odell. We had Odell in LA we're talking about the turf field. Odell tore his ACL just running a route
in a game that he probably was going to be Super Bowl MVP.
So it's becoming a storyline more and more each year about the fields. So I don't know if the NFL has an answer now or if they're still working. I mean, you said they're doing research, but it's not going to be an easy answer regardless of how you go about it.
It's going to cost some teams money, period.
Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be safer in the end and maybe keep their players on the field a little longer. Oh, man. I don't know. Any final Super Bowl thoughts here?
I'll say this. I mean, like I said, you got to. I'm curious as far as what Andy Reid does. I know he kind of said a little bit that he's not planning on retiring, but there was a lot of talk and conversation about that.
I don't know where that came from either.
It came from Jay Glazer.
What is he? What is
Jay said Andy has thought about retiring and could possibly retire after the game. Now, I don't like the question. Well, first of all, I hate the question. Why are they asking Andy if he's going to retire right after he let the man smell? Yeah. You know what I mean? Let him enjoy this win before we're talking about next year. Like the man just won a Super Bowl. He probably does think he wants to come back and win come back because they just won the damn Super Bowl. He's feeling great. Like let him enjoy it. Let these guys enjoy it for at least for the week. Let them get through the parade and all that, and then let them come back and ask them.
It's the whole. Oh, hey, did you play your final snap as a Chief today, or final snap as an Eagle?
Yeah,
So if you're Bieniemy and you kind of know the clock is ticking on Reid's career, do you want to go elsewhere and try to be a head coach, or do you want to take over the Chiefs?
Well, all the head coach jobs are filled for the most part.
No, nobody wants him. So why would he leave if he's not going to get hired anywhere?
This is the last year on his contract with the Chiefs. They barely brought him back last year. So, that to me says something. I feel like Andy's been pumping him a little bit more here lately, leading into the Super Bowl. And even last night he said Bieniemy called a heck of a game. So is he plugging him it seems like he's giving him kudos here lately more.
So, you look at Reid as being, if he's got one more year in his contract, Bieniemy does. Reid coaches 2023, retires. Bieniemy takes over.
No,
or Matt Nagy.
I'll take Nagy over Bieniemy. I don't want Bieniemy on my coach as my head coach.
It kind of seems like it's shaping that way, though. It's almost like a Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels situation, and McDaniels just got he got tired of waiting. You kind of have the same thing with Bieniemy though right now.
There we go, Mike out here. EB needs to go make a name for himself as an OC somewhere else without Patrick Mahomes.
The Commanders might be that spot. They're interviewing him to be the OC.
Are they?
Yep.
But why would you see? I get it. You want to make a name and get away and kind of improve yourself more as an OC, but why go?
You don't have to hang around the same team to be able to come back as a head coach. If you go out, prove yourself that, hey, I can coach other players than the GOAT Patrick Mahomes.
So what if he fails?
GOAT.
So what if he fails in Washington? Now, I mean, then he's definitely not. Then he's definitely not getting a head coaching job.
Not chance, that's for sure.
You can go so I'm saying, why? If you're Bieniemy, why risk that? You're a head coaching candidate every year right now with the Chiefs. Why risk going to the Commanders where you may not do you don't have the same quarterback, you don't have the same talent.
Yeah, if you're Bieniemy, you don't do it, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. There's just there's no positive side on taking the Commander's job over leaving the Chiefs to try to go prove your name, because if you fail, you're just an OC the rest of your career now. You're not a head coach anymore. You'll never be a head coaching candidate anymore. If he succeeds and it turns that the Commanders to a playoff team or they win the division in the East, okay, yeah, hey, then we have a different conversation at that point.
Now let's say EB gets hired by the Commanders. Doesn't that set up a Lamar Jackson quarterback going to the Commanders? That just sets it all up there. That's the EB style quarterback he wants.
Maybe he goes to the Ravens. They're looking for a OC. Maybe he goes to the Ravens with Lamar.
I just don't see teams making that trade. That's a lot of. You're gonna have to make the trade of trading 3 first-round picks at possibly 3 first-round picks
and sign him to a guaranteed contract,
$40 million per season.
Yep. And it's all guaranteed. Is what he wants.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's one team I was told Atlanta is the only. Atlanta would be interested in making that deal. Because Arthur Blank sees him as like a Mike Vick type.
I've heard it, but again, I just with what weapons? He's got the same. He's got the same weapons that you have.
You got Pitts and London there. They got some young guys.
Mark Andrews. Yeah, Mark Andrews in Baltimore.
Well, yeah. He just can't get a deal done.
And Andrews is better. Andrews is better than Pitts right now.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. What I'm saying is
Drake London. Yeah, Drake London's better than anything receiver they have in Baltimore. I agree with you on that. You have Cordell Patterson as a running back compared to J.K. Dobbins, which Cordell's better.
Tyler Allgeier's pretty good too. The Algier kid.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say though: whoever finds a quarterback in that NFC South, will put themselves ahead of everybody else because everybody in that whole division, all 4 teams are in quarterback purgatory hell and looking for their guy, and whoever finds their guy first will be the leader in the clubhouse division.
Well, the Vegas has the Saints ahead of the others as far as Super Bowl odds for 2023, 2024. So, which if right now constructed roster-wise, I agree with that. The roster is better in New Orleans than what the Falcons have or what the Panthers have, and right now what the Buccaneers have. Buccaneers have no clue what they're doing either at the moment. So, I agree with you. I know the conversation of Derek Carr has really been coming up in New Orleans a lot, but I kind of hope they don't go down that road. Not because I don't believe in Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. He's a good quarterback. Top 10, top 15 quarterback, top 12 quarterback probably. But we got to save money. We have no cap. We have no money. It's been that way for a decade plus. You got to find a way to stop kicking the can down the road and actually build something, which is what the Eagles have done right now. That's why the Eagles are what they are position-wise. They're able to now prepare to pay Jalen Hurts and still have a little bit of money because they've been able to draft well, get younger, get more athletic, and be able to build a foundation. Saints haven't been able to do that, and really the whole time they've had Drew Brees, they never built anything as far as that because you had draft picks here and there, but you're building for the win now instead of the win now and the win future.
No, that makes sense to me there.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, Jonathan. Spring training starts. I think baseball time with Jonathan comes back next week.
I'm looking forward to that. It's, like I said, baseball's here. Spring training's around the corner. College baseball is going right now.
And next week when you come on, that's when we start picking our division. Pick a division. We'll come back next week and we'll give our rankings for that division.
I'm good with that. I've got some. I told y'all before. I got some opinions as far as I've been thinking and looking at it. So we'll definitely pick a division each time.
What division you want to break down first next week?
Hey, y'all surprise me. I'll let you guys follow that one out there as it goes. So y'all surprise me. I'll be ready for it.
Let's do this here. Let's do this for all the listeners here. Throw it in the comments, and I'll look at all 3 channels, or 4 channels we're on YouTube here. Throw in the comments what division you want to see for baseball for the breakout first, and then we'll get back with Jonathan, and we'll have that all ready to go for next week. Throw in the comments which one. So I like that.
I mean, we got the AL East, NL Central, AL Central.
So like we gotta save the Cubbies, the Royals, and the Braves for the last 3. I just feel like, but we're gonna see what they decide. And
all right,
if they bring it up, then we'll message and we'll go from there. So
interesting to think as far as what's the best division in baseball now and for 2023. You got a lot of teams. There's a lot of divisions that are really top heavy right now. So I think that's an interesting conversation as far as which is the most difficult division, who has the most difficult road of the contenders, of the top 5, top 6 contenders for a World Series, and what the road they have, especially with the schedule changing now. Because remember, they changed the schedule that everybody plays everybody, starting this year. So there's no more like one side. It's less division games, and you get to play all 29 other teams in baseball. So it's definitely going to be an adjustment to the schedule, how this is going to work out.
So and everybody got the DH. Now they just implemented the runner rule is staying.
Yeah,
that's staying. Yeah, California rule.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what we want.
I wish it goes away. I hate it, but I mean,
Just
what can
speed it
you
up
what can you
somehow.
do?
Yeah.
You're trying to get non-baseball fans to watch and stick around and
Is
not
that?
have
But if I'm baseball, I'm almost doing the I'm almost doing the opposite. Like I'm going to cater to. I get maybe want the younger audience, but I'm going to try to cater to my audience that the old school heads, like the people who love baseball, the purists of baseball. Instead of this, I feel like it's getting too gimmicky. It's starting to turn into like the USFL, XFL, where we gotta have so much gimmick type shit so people will tune in. But that's not fucking baseball.
Yeah. Like I said, they're trying to get the younger audience who's sports fans. They like the NFL. They like action, which they did a study actually about this. If you talk about a play itself that occurs, the time it takes from the pitch, ball in play, fielded, thrown in, the time it takes for one single play in baseball, actually more action time takes place in a baseball play than does an NFL play. More action occurs in a baseball play than an NBA play. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
But they don't see it that way because again they're trying to cater to the non-baseball fan to bring them in because you're trying to compete with the superstar sport of NFL that is just the popularity has grown in the last 20-25 years exponentially more and baseball keeps on shooting themselves in the foot with the 94 strike. You had the steroid issue, you had the labor issue again recently, so they keep shooting themselves in the foot and they're like, well, we have to find a way, we have to make a quick fix to bring in the younger audience, the non-baseball audience. Non-baseball fans are not going to games and buying jerseys and buying hats and buying souvenirs. They're going to show up. They're going to buy a hot dog for $9, sit and watch the game, and leave in the sixth inning. Right? I mean, that's just to beat the traffic. But the baseball fans, they're there for wearing the jersey, wearing the hats, buying souvenirs, buying a hot dog, popcorn, 3 beers, and a couple of sodas on top of it with their kids, and they're staying not only 1 through 9, but if extra innings happens, hey, we're going to stay until the game ends.
Hey, I ain't buying 3 beers, Jonathan. That's out of my pocketbook, man.
It's also a thing too of you can't bring in fans if you can't watch it. If you can't watch on TV.
Yeah,
well, that's a different issue.
Oh, that kills your fandom right there. I mean, I watched one Royals game last year because it was on YouTube for free.
Well, thankfully I have the MLB package that I can go and watch my Braves play because I'm in Dallas Fort Worth.
So you don't get the black.
I couldn't watch it anyway. I could not watch my Braves play, so I had to buy the MLB package to be able to watch the Braves games. And there's times where it's actually blacked out on there too. So I mean, like it's really odd on how they do this, and they don't see that. But the problem is they can't make games national like the NFL. It's a regional sport, just like NBA. NBA is a regional sport with more national appeal that you have it on ABC. You can put games on on TNT and TBS and ESPN. Baseball has ESPN, TBS, Fox.
They used to do Fox and
Fox.
I remember ABC and Fox sometimes, and it was on. It was like almost football every Saturday, and then you had WGN with the Cubbies.
Yeah. I mean, TBS
has Sunday night football or Sunday night baseball.
So they're trying to get it more national, where it's national games every day, where you have ESPN doing a Monday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday, Saturday game, and then you have the big premier Sunday night baseball, as well. So they're getting more national games, but it doesn't help the other teams that aren't playing on national channels. And TBS is only doing a handful of national games at the time, and it starts in June. So from April and May, you're not able to watch it on TBS at that point. They started those games on TBS in June, July, and then they kind of keep going from there. They handpick. We'll do a game every 2 weeks on TBS. Once the postseason rolls around, then we have a little bit more. But I mean, you have to almost allow the teams to again control how they handle the blackouts, and I think the MLB doesn't really allow that as much. They and say unless you're I don't know how the Yankees do it with the Yes Network or anything like that, but I remember with the Braves when they had TBS when Turner owned the Braves, it was on TBS every night, no blackouts. It were on every night. You can watch the game no matter what happens from there. I don't get what changed. I don't get what the thought process has become where they're not. You said they're trying to get fans to come to the stadiums. That's great, but that's not how you make your money. You're making more money on the TV revenue. That's what makes the NFL what they are. The NFL TV revenue is what's shooting up the value of the NFL. The NBA's value is shooting up because of the TV revenue they get. And if your fans across the country can't watch their games, you're not making as much TV revenue. Now, I'm curious to see how things change when the new TV contracts kick in. How much is going to change at that point? Is it going to change at that point?
If it changes at all.
I mean, but it's going to have to do something. I don't know why nobody's is throwing that book at Manfred and say, do something better instead of just trying to change the game to bring the younger audience to the stadium. You have Braves sell out. Wrigley sells out. Yankees sell out. Red Sox sell out. You're having a lot of sellouts. So how much more fans can you put into the stadiums to say, well, hey, we want more fans to come watch? Okay, Pittsburgh, yeah. Well, help them out with TV revenue. They can make some more money, and they can spend some more money, and they can actually have a better product on the field where people will come watch the games better, and they'll be able to build the team a little bit better at that point. You're not allowing that to happen.
Well, if you don't know what's going on with your team, how do you go to stadiums? How do you deal with it? If you don't know what's going on in the team, if you don't know who's on the team, who's healthy, and you don't want to go look at ESPN every night to see the stats or whatever it is, like it's pointless.
And I think two things. There's a couple things that need to change too. Like the be able to flex out some games, because sometimes Sunday Night Baseball for the 80,000th time we got to see freaking Red Sox and Yankees, and they both could be dead last. Like be able to flex some things out and give us the key matchups at times. They're never going to catch football. I get it because I agree with that. Nobody really wants to watch two random baseball. I don't really watch a whole lot of random baseball games. If it's not the Cubs during the regular season, I do watch the postseason. But I mean, when it's the regular season, it's pretty much Cubs for me, and that's it. Every once in a while, I might catch a game here or there, but
that's the difference. That's the difference right there. Baseball, the fandom is for your team.
Yeah.
Not the sport.
Not the sport, right.
The NFL, you are a fan of your team and the sport.
Yeah.
So you'll watch your team. Saints play at noon Central here in DFW. I'm going to go watch the game. And I'll go to a sports bar because I'm in Dallas. It sucks. I have to watch the NFC East play, whatever. But I'll go to a sports bar, watch the game. 3:00 rolls around, Saints game's over. I'm going to go home. I'm going to start cooking dinner. I have a football game still on TV, the 3:30, 4:00 game. I'm going to watch that. And then after that, guess what? I'm going to watch Sunday Night Football. So I'm a fan of the sport too. Now, I'm also a fan. I'm different. I'm a fan of baseball. So I'll watch Sunday Night Baseball if the Braves are not playing. I'll watch random games on ESPN. I'll watch, TBS games and whatnot. I am a fan of the sport. But us who are fans of the sport, we're the exception. We're the exception to that. Because I grew up in the sport. I grew up with baseball more than I did with football at the time. The majority of fans of baseball are not fans of the sport. They're a fan of their team. They will go watch their Yankees, go watch the Red Sox, go watch the Cubs, go watch the Dodgers, and then when they get done watching their team, they're watching the other sport play. Yeah. They're going to watch the NBA game. They're going to watch the NFL game, and then that's it. They're going to turn the game off. They don't care. You have to find a way to make it more national. You have to. And I don't know if there's a way for Major League Baseball to do that.
That's the thing. Football's so easy to gamble now too, right? Like that's a lot of where it's coming in now is people gambling and betting. It's hard to do that with baseball. It's so easy to do it with football, but gambling and betting. I equivalent baseball. You said this earlier, Jonathan. It's a regional sport. I equivalent baseball to hockey. Hockey is so much like a regional. Your team, your region, your town. But so there's hockey towns and there's baseball towns. So I equivalent both of them together because I feel like a lot of people are like that with hockey. They love their team, not so much the sport. Whereas, same with baseball, like you said, people love their team, maybe not just in general watching every game like they do.
No, I agree with that. That's a great example, a great comparison as far as hockey. Because again, you're in towns that only have one sport though. One team. Calgary, you don't have. Maybe they have. I know they have the CFL, but it's not at the same time. So you're watching Calgary Flames. You're watching Vancouver Canucks. You're Detroit Red Wings are on. You're probably not watching the Pistons play right now, so they're going to go watch the Red Wings play. So, and Detroit, again, Detroit baseball is what it is as well. So, but you're correct. They have that sport, which is why it's interesting for the NFL. With Los Angeles, and I've been saying this from the day they moved the Rams to the Rams and Chargers to LA. It's a baseball and basketball town. LA is. But you're still able to get a good TV ratings for the Rams and Chargers. You're still able to go and get people to watch them play despite it. And that tells you right there where a town that views the Rams, let's just use the Rams example only, as really the fourth favorite team in that town behind the Dodgers, the Lakers, and Clippers. And the Rams are still outdrawing them on the revenue of TV.
Yeah,
they're still getting more ratings on TV. That tells you the sport itself is doing what they're doing for the NFL compared to what Major League Baseball is doing for the Dodgers. So I mean, it is a regional. They have to allow the fans, because you have fans who live in all over the country. Again, me being a Braves fan, I'm not in Atlanta. I'm in Dallas. Let the fans watch the games and don't hinder them to be able to watch the games, because your stadium revenue is only a fraction of the pie. The TV revenue is where the bigger slice is coming from. And I just don't get why Major League Baseball doesn't see that and say, we'll do away with blackouts. Do away with it. We'll still do the streaming. We'll still do YouTube TV. We'll still do, or I guess we're not doing YouTube TV anymore, but you'll do Amazon or Facebook.
Sports.
You open up the streaming services, but you still let your fans watch them. Take the blackouts out. If you're from that town and it's blacked out. If you're in Atlanta, the games are blacked out. You can't watch it. How you gonna? So I gotta go to a sports bar now to watch it at that point then. And I'm gonna spend even more money than what I have to pay for the package and stuff to go watch it in the first place. I mean, it makes no sense what Major League Baseball is doing, and I just don't think I don't think they get it. I was gonna say It's not that I don't think they know. I know they don't get it. But why they're not seeing that the pie could be bigger, teams could make more money. Think about what the Oakland A's could do with the actual TV revenue, and they could actually spend some money, to be able to get some better players. Maybe maybe not have to rely on the city of Oakland to buy a new to get a new stadium made. They could actually put some decent amount of money up to get themselves a new stadium in Oakland if that was the case. But same thing with Pittsburgh. I mean, what could Pittsburgh Pirates do if they had a little bit of extra revenue from TV at that point? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's such a messed up thing, and hopefully you're right. The TV deals, when they kick in, maybe it's better, but such a challenge to grow a sport, or to regrow a sport, essentially. Yeah. With all the challenges that they are providing, hurting themselves on it. So.
And as we said, they're alienating their actual fan base with these changes, not just the TV stuff, but the changes to the game. They're alienating the traditional fans that love the sport, what it is, with all these changes that are going on in the game, and it's pissing off. And it's a lot of people are kind of they'll give it a chance, but a lot of fans are turning it off now. They're just sick of it. It's too much, as you said, too much gimmicky. It's like Little League baseball now, and the rules they're just piling on rule after rule. The rule change, they said position players can't pitch unless it's an 8-run lead in the ninth inning.
Yep.
Why does that have to be said? Why does that have to be a rule? Why does that have to be a rule? I don't get that. Why
there's lots of things in there. Why do we have certain rules for this game?
So if it's a 7-run lead, and your bullpen's taxed. It's a third game of a series. Your bullpen is exhausted because you've had your starting pitcher only goes 3 innings. The next starting pitcher the next day goes 2 innings, and your bullpen's been absolutely taxed. You're going to tell those guys, hey, sorry, I have to pitch you again in the 7th and 8th inning of the 8th and 9th inning of a 7-run ball game. When player safety doesn't matter now because those guys' arms are exhausted at that point?
Yep.
So
what was the stat here today too with the California rule that position pitchers?
You can't. So if you're up by 10, your position pitcher can't pitch unless you're up by 10. Right. The winning team's up by 10, losing team's down by 8.
But last year it was that big increase, right? It was like what? It was some stupid amount. It was like 22 pitchers went all the way up to like 306 or something like that. It was some, or 30 maybe. I don't remember. It was some dumb number of such an increase just due to one stupid rule.
I think they said it was like 130 times a position player pitched. I think something like that, or number of innings pitched or something like that by position players. Which again, who cares? I mean, it's entertaining. You tell me, like nobody thought Brett Phillips pitching was entertaining.
Anthony Rizzo, baby.
Anthony Rizzo to Freddie Freeman. Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina got the pitch. Nobody thinks that's entertaining.
Like the position guys striking out, some of the other big hitters.
But the non-traditional fan thinks that, goes, why are they doing that? Why are they throwing the ball 50 miles an hour when you have a guy who can throw when you have a guy in the bullpen who can throw 98? I don't understand. Well, because there's no point in using a guy that in the third game of a series. The Freddie Freeman Anthony Rizzo game, that was Sunday Night Baseball.
Yep.
That was Sunday night. Cubs were down by 11 runs, I think is what it was. At that point, their bullpen got absolutely taxed in that series. You're not throwing a guy again, it doesn't need to be. So why have a rule that basically says, sorry, your bullpen's been overused in this series, but we're not going to let you not use them.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense here. But obviously there'll be more conversations with this here later on before the season starts. Maybe even during the season. Depends how upset I get here when I can't watch the Royals again. So, we'll see what happens. Anyways, Jonathan, we'll let you go, man. We're about time here. We appreciate you hopping on. Like I said, next week I'll let you know. I'll give you the message probably Thursday or something.
Yep.
And let you know what's decided for our division breakdown for the first week going into spring training.
Thank God baseball is finally here. Let's get it going, guys.
Hey, it's a busy spring. Let me tell you what. I got NFL draft here in KC, so we're amping that up. MLB, college basketball, NBA, trying to get the NHL go back now that the Chiefs are done.
Oh.
I feel like there's 100 sports.
Well, hey, World Baseball Classic.
And World Baseball Classic is going
World
on.
Baseball Classic starting up too as well this year. It's back.
True
so
that.
that's that's pretty interesting. I'm excited to see how that goes again. I'm glad they brought it back and they're keeping it going. So hey, let's see how that works out and let's see how that goes. And then, like I said, college baseball is back up as well. My number one LSU Tigers, number one in the nation.
Do they win it all this year?
Oh, they'll win the College World Series this year. They are hands down pitching. Like that offense is loaded. It is absolutely stacked. 1 through 9 hitters are there. And you had the freshman who led the nation in home runs last year, Tommy White from NC State. He transferred into LSU with a loaded lineup as well, with the number one prospect for the 2023 Major League Baseball draft, and Dylan Cruz, who's a center fielder for LSU. He's a leadoff hitter for them as well. So that's a loaded lineup. I'm excited to see the Tigers play this year.
I'm excited. I got to check this out now. Mike here says Jonathan has some great opinions. Agreed.
Appreciate it.
That's why we keep bringing them on. Not just the show. So.
I'm glad I'm earning my worth for you guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, I even got your name on the intro now, man. So you're set. You're famous now.
Hey, awesome. Oh man, I appreciate that, guys. Like I said, I love doing this. Even sitting down in a parking lot outside of ball fields, I'll sit out here and talk with you guys all night if I had the opportunity to do that. So man, hey, thank you guys for the opportunity to come do this show with you guys every week.
We appreciate
it, Jonathan.
All right, man. We'll catch you next Monday as we get ready to talk baseball. So
sounds good. See you, fellas.
See you, dude. Jonathan Grishman, everybody. Oh, Nick. Busy. I feel so relieved now that the game's done. NFL season's wrapped up. But then I look ahead and it looks like things just only grow. We don't get rid of stuff. We just add stuff on.
Right. I mean, college basketball is March Madness is coming right around the corner.
Like the content is going to be nuts, I think, across the whole Let's Talk Sports community here as we get through basically into March. As soon as March hits, it might be insane. We might have 100,000 shows going at that point. So anyways, Nick, anything coming up here this week?
Check out the Johnny Cruz show. I just got done doing that right before I came on here. So check out Johnny Cruz. Had a good one-on-one with me and Johnny. I'll be back on my show Thursday and then Sunday as well. So Thursday we might be talking some college basketball. Get us ready for March Madness. We'll talk a little bit of football, obviously the game, and then we'll talk a little college basketball. Get us ready for March Madness.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me here, you guys can catch me here, of course, Thursday, Whiskey Sports Podcast. Not sure what's going on yet. I mean, if it's me, we're going to be talking college basketball. Let me tell you that much. So if it's me, that's what we're doing. Then the Buffoons episode, Sports Buffoons, guys, will drop on Friday once again. We'll be recording Wednesday night for a Friday drop as I keep messing with this, the new editing software, trying to learn. So having a blast with it. There's a lot of cool things we can do.
So you guys not going live anymore?
No, we're not going live. We're trying this for a little bit here because we want to put in cool graphics and stuff later on. I don't know if you watched, by the way, in that Buffoons episode last Wednesday, about a quarter left of the show, we talked about this halftime show, and I kind of threw in our Monday night clip of your what you were hoping last Monday.
No, I didn't count. I have to count.
It's in there. It's in there.
I'll check it out. I will have to check it out. All right.
Yeah. So I was able to throw that in with a cool transition and everything. So that's the kind of stuff I want to do, though. It's like bringing those clips, bringing in certain stuff. So that's kind of the goal here is to be able, not just us talking all the time, but, have some cool clips in there and, kind of what we're talking about more often. So lots of cool things from the Buffoons. We got, draft stuff about to ramp up in March, of course, because we are hosting here in Kansas City. So there's we got lots of content, guys, lots of content. So everybody, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow, hit that bell so you know when we're on. And you guys have a great week. We'll catch you next Monday as, we move past regular season and playoff season football.
See y'all.
See you guys.
Hit the end stream, will you?